Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by Cachefly. Cachefly.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Radio Networks on Sunday, November 11th, 2012. This is episode 926. Enjoy. I am Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Happy GIS Day. Actually, it's not GIS Day, but it's going to be. Do you know what GIS is? Global Information System. Is that right? That's what it stands for, John? Geographical. You know, Google Maps, that's GIS. Apple Maps, well, that's faux GIS. That's the best they could do. GIS is pretty amazing stuff. It's really transformed almost every facet of business. This is Geographic Awareness Week. So I just wanted you, to be aware of it. In many areas, they're celebrating with GIS Day. You know, geographers, they're party animals. GISDAY.org, or I'm sorry, .com if you want to find out more. GISDAY.com. I guess the Los Angeles, no, that's wrong. Did I get that wrong? GISDAY, oh, I misspelled it. .com. The Los Angeles Department of Public Works is having an event in Los Angeles, and others are all over the world. Yeah, GISday.com. Grow and nurture your GIS community. That's cute. I like it. That's really cute. It's funny because this is something we all use every day. In fact, as we start to move computing to more mobile devices like phones and tablets with built-in GPS and geolocation, it really does become very important to us. The mapping is everything. So they have GIS and geography trivia. They have maps for every story. There's a lot of information on here for teachers and people who want to know more about geographic information systems. GIS. So I thought I'd pass that along. Happy GIS Day. And, you know, we had a little election, didn't we? One of the things, of course, that became very important in the election was geography, swing states, and all of that. And GIS is heavily used by both campaigns to predict, prognosticate, to determine where to spend money. One of the maps at ESRI, one of the GIS maps is from the 2008 presidential election. I'm sure we'll see one from 2012 soon. But that shows precinct by precinct how people voted. Very interesting. The size of the dot is the number of votes of margin of victory. The blue, of course, is the Democratic vote. The red is the Republican vote. This stuff is fascinating to me. Maybe it's just me and other geeks. If you've used Google Maps, do you know that they follow you around? Now, don't be scared. But if you have a Google account, you can look at your Google dashboard. I use something Google has called Latitude that automatically tracks your location with the phone. Now, the thing not to be scared about this is that your phone is constantly tracking you anyway, and law enforcement and others can get this information. So it's kind of valuable, I think, to log into your Google account and take a look at the geographic information that law enforcement might find out about you. If you go to your Google dashboard, google.com/dashboard, this is anybody who has a Google account probably should do this anyway. To see, this is what Google knows about you. I know people are very worried about privacy with Google. This is the history of your searches, the history of sites you've gone to, analytics, your devices, data that's stored on the devices, books you've read, calendar posts, contacts, cloud print. There's a lot of stuff in here. And I commend Google actually for making this available because it's good. If they're going to collect this, which they do for advertising reasons, it's good that you can see what they've got. And I should point out that you control it as well here. So if you are interested, you can download the information. You can delete the information. If you go there, go down to Latitude. If you've been using Latitude, it can give you your location history, which is just, I think, fascinating. It shows where you've been on any given day, the path of your trajectory as you travel around. And again, it's probably good for you to know this, since others can find this out. And it only is if you turn on... but see, this is an example to me of Latitude. Of GIS, is that it's a Google Latitude as it follows me around for my day-to-day operations from here to there. There's actually, and the funny thing is to do the playback as it watches you walk around or drive around in the places that you've gone. And then you can also get interesting history information, like how much time you spend at work, how much time you spend at home. You might be amazed. Fascinating stuff. All this data is being collected about you all the time anyway from your smartphone. I wish Apple made this available. Your smartphone, if you've got location services turned on, is keeping track and somewhere logging it. In fact, remember the scandal when people found that data that Apple had been tracking on their computers, on their iPhones, and it was synced to the computers, and it wasn't encrypted, it wasn't protected in any way. Remember that? Jeff in the chat room says, Leo seems to stay within a 1 mile radius. That was one day. But you're right. You find out how much of a homebody you are, or a workaholic you are. If you're a workaholic and you see, you spend an average of 10 hours a day at work, you'll see that too. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I like data, and I think it's fascinating. That's why I leave Latitude on. I don't care if Google knows that. They have a great app. We talked about it a few weeks ago, Field Trip, that lets you know when you walk by a site of interest, whether it's a movie location, a historic site, a concert coming up or whatever, and the Field Trip pops up. There's also on the newer Google devices, anything with Jelly Bean or later, this new thing called Google Now that's wild. Based on what your searches are, Google pops up cards that give you information you might want. Things like, well, here's mine is just the weather forecast, but when the Giants were playing, it would give me the scores of the games. It says it's how long it'll take you to get to places you often go, what your commute's going to look like. Cards of locations that you commonly go to, or something you might want to know more about, restaurant reviews. All designed really for Google, because Google's trying to guess what you might be interested in ahead of time and give you that information. Isn't that wild? That's for Android 4.2 or later, so you have to have a newer Android device. There are very few of them, newer Android device. But I like that, and I think if you get the upgrade, check it out. Google Now, the Google Now cards, and Field Trip. I think anybody can use on any Android device. All right, we're going to get ready for your phone calls here. We'll continue to take your calls. Don't forget to celebrate GIS Day. It's November 14th. And you can find out more at gisday.com. And there's a list there of GIS events around the globe. I think for kids, this might be get them interested in geography. Geography is a lot more interesting than it was when I was a kid. I could say that for sure. Is it 4. I'm sorry. Dr. K.O. Candy. You're absolutely right. Jelly Bean is 4.1 or later. 4.2 just came out and is not available on almost anything. 4.1 or later, Jelly Bean or later. And they're making comments about my phone case because I was demonstrating to the chat room, that we have a camera on me, and I was showing the chat room my Galaxy Note and the Google Now cards, and they were mocking my case. Somebody said it looks like it was made out of my lunch bag. It's just the best case I could get for them. When you get a new phone, the cases, the Note 2 doesn't have a whole lot of choice yet. All right. I'm sorry. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, I'm going to take more of your calls. Don't forget our website, techguylabs.com. Links to all this silliness, including GIS Day, available there. TechGuyLabs.com. Thanks to James DeRuvo and Josh Windish who keep that up to date. And your calls next. I am Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. I am Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy, and we are going to the phones here, starting with Mike in Norco, California. Hi, Mike. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy.
Hi, Leo. It's great to talk to you. I really enjoy your show.
Thanks for hanging on. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Since I added a couple of laptops and a smart TV to my home network, I'm having some connectivity issues, and I'm wondering if I need a better router.
Yeah, you may. Although most routers can handle 10 to 15 different devices. But, as you get busier, they can get overwhelmed, and especially if all of them are sucking bandwidth. In fact, a new router may not help because maybe it's your internet service provider that can't keep up. How many devices do you have on there?
3 laptops and a smart TV and, a desktop. But that's not...
That's fine in terms of how many devices can be connected to a Wi-Fi router. That's not too many. Unless you have some weird router. But that 4 or 5 devices shouldn't be a problem. Even a MiFi can do 4 or 5 devices. On the other hand, if on the smart TV you're streaming, Netflix, and on 2 of the laptops the kids are watching Amazon streaming and somebody else is watching YouTube, and then you're trying to get mail on the 3rd computer, you might be running out of bandwidth. In which case, a new router may not help. What do you just? Is it just slow?
Well, it's just that sometimes if somebody's on one of the laptops and the other person tries to turn on another laptop, that you might have to unplug the router, or
really?
They can't automatically connect.
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. What kind of router do you have? Is it the one that came with the modem, or did you buy your own?
I bought my own. It's just a Linksys, nothing too fancy or anything.
To my knowledge, 4 or 5 devices shouldn't be a problem. How old is that Linksys?
The router, I don't know, 3-4 years old.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, maybe now. Maybe it's getting a little long in the tooth. You certainly would get better performance if you bought a newer router. In fact, what I would look for these days is, and this may be part of the problem, is a dual band router. So Wi-Fi can happen on 2.4 gigahertz or 5 gigahertz, 2 different frequency bands. And the problem is everybody's using 2.4. It's gotten very cluttered. Do you see a lot of other Wi-Fi access spots when you search?
No.
No. All right. So your neighborhood doesn't have a lot of Wi-Fi users. I see like 20 when I search. It's a very, very crowded area. But if you don't have that problem, then that's less of an issue. I do think we're going to see more and more people using 5 gigahertz, and then the 5 gigahertz band will get crowded. But a dual band router at least gives you the choice. You also need to have hardware on the laptops and desktops and the TV that can use 5 gigahertz. Most of the new stuff will. Are the devices N 802.11n, or are they A, B, or G? Do you know?
The router, I believe the router's an N. I'd say probably everything is N.
It's all N? Okay. Well, you won't get a benefit then going to N. That would be the other, if you were only doing 802.11b, then I would say N. But I guess everything's recent enough that you're using N. I think the first thing to try is see if there's an update for the firmware for the router. That's always a good idea.
Oh, okay.
It's a 4-year-old router, there will for sure be an update.
All right.
And then if that doesn't help, then maybe a new router. The good news is routers are cheap. I'm not a big fan of Linksys routers. I like Netgear. I like my favorites in the consumer space is D-Link.
Okay.
You might just they're $40. Go out and get a new one. It'll be more up to date. The other thing you could try, I presume that you're automatically choosing channels on the router, but if you're not, you might try switching to a different channel. But four or five items is not too many.
Well, I don't understand how to switch between the 2.4 and the 5 on any given device.
If it has the capability, it'll either choose it automatically or you can manually set it. If you don't see a switch for it, then you can't do it. Not a physical switch, but a software switch. It says choose the frequency.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I think just it couldn't hurt to get a new router.
All right.
Get a dual band, and you'll with the stuff that can do 5 gigahertz, you'll do better. If it were just my bandwidth is slow, well, that could be because there's so many people using it. But if you can't join it, if you have one guy on and another guy can't join it, that's not right. The other thing you want to make sure you're doing, fairly important, is you're using automatic configuration on all your machines. That will avoid IP address conflicts. If you have static, if you tell each machine what IP address to use, 192.168.1.11 for you, 12 for you, 13 for you, there's always the potential of conflict, and that's not good. In almost, certainly in Windows and Macintosh, you have the option to say, let the router decide what my address is. Always do that. The router will do a better job. It'll make sure that nobody's conflicting. I hope that helps, Mike. It's just a few things you can try anyway. Sergio in La Puente, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Sergio.
Hello, how are you, Leo?
I'm great. Welcome. What can I do for you?
Thank you. Thanks for taking my call. I wanted your recommendation. Shamefully, I'm new to the smartphones and also to AM radio, but I'm really glad I came across your show.
Well, there's no shame in either. It's okay, Sergio.
But I'm really loving it.
Good.
I actually found a great function for the phone, the memo recorder where you can record your...
I record stuff all the time. And, one of the things the iPhone does well with Siri is you can have it automatically add things to a to-do list, to a reminder. You can even say things to Siri like, remind me when I leave here not to forget my keys, or remind me when I get to the grocery store to pick up milk. And Siri knows where you are. So,
great.
Yeah,
love it. My question was, I've been recording a lot of thoughts and a lot of ideas and things, and I wanted to transcribe them. So I was looking at apps and I was looking at software to transcribe, and I didn't really know what I was reading. And ironically, I was opening a newspaper or a magazine article, and there was job applications for at-home transcribing.
So there's two different ways. You're right. There's machine transcription. Google does that. Nuance, if you get any of the Nuance applications, they're doing computer transcription. But then there is also human transcription. Things like Amazon's Mechanical Turk will actually farm it out to people. Now, you may be concerned about privacy. In most cases, depends what these people are doing at home. If they're, in a lot of cases, you're transcribing depositions, stuff like that. But if you say, I have some private memos, what the Amazon Mechanical Turk will do is just give a few seconds to each person. They only have to transcribe 5 or 6 words, and it's usually not enough to put together any idea from any one of them.
Okay, I can live with that.
Yeah.
What were you saying? It was Amazon?
It's called the Mechanical Turk, yeah. That's on Amazon. But and so that would be one way to do it, absolutely. That's a little more complicated. What you'd do is you'd upload those transcriptions and you'd bid it out, and you pay people pennies because they're only doing a few words. And humans do a better job. In fact, Mechanical Turk, I think, has a system where it sends the same sound to 5 different people and figures out which is the best transcription. If 2 out of the 5 say the same thing, it assumes, those 2 got it right. The other 2 were confused. Certainly, humans do a much better job than machines. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Clear.
I am Leo Laporte, the tech guy. He's Chris Marquardt, our photo guy, here once again to bust a myth. He's our myth buster. Hello, Chris Marquardt.
Hey, Leo, how's it going?
It's going great. Chris is the host of a great camera podcast called Tips from the Top Floor, which you can find at either his website, chrismarquardt.com, or tfttf.com, and joins us every week to help us with our digital photography. And the Mythbuster thing I'm liking.
Yeah, I'm out on a mission to bust some photography myths because we're surrounded by those. And we busted a myth about lens flare and how bad it is. And this week I want to talk about this one myth that you get told if you go to a camera store they tell you must have a filter on your lens. You must have a
yeah.
filter.
In fact, even when you buy a camera online, they say, and don't forget, you need, and it's like a haze filter or a UV filter, right?
Or a skylight filter, but some kind of filter. And there are two reasons why they claim that this is really necessary, and I want to debunk those really quickly. So first reason is, and that comes from the old times of film photography, for optical reasons. To make your picture look better, to fix an issue, a UV filter would help you get better image quality. Unfortunately, things have changed, or maybe fortunately, things have changed. If you open up your digital camera, you look inside and you look on that sensor, you're looking actually through a pack of filters. There's a little protective glass in front of the sensor, and there are lots of filters, and that includes a UV filter. So you don't have to put one on the front of your lens to make the picture better. So that's, in other words, it's built in.
In fact, it's even built in, I think, on an iPhone. Yeah. Most camera phones now, right?
Exactly. Every digital camera has a UV filter built in, apart from a very few exceptions. But again, like 99% of the digital cameras have these filters built in.
It's part of the camera.
It's part of the camera. And then the second reason, obviously, is, and that's a pretty easy sell for camera salespeople, you want to protect that expensive lens you bought there, right?
Of course you do.
Yes, you do. And I've been shooting for many years now. I only had a scratch on one lens so far without using any filters, and that lens was a used lens that I bought with the scratch. Now,
wait a minute. You bought a lens with a scratch. What?
Yep.
All right.
No problem, because if you look at longer focal lengths, at more telephoto lenses, you won't even see the scratch on your picture. It won't make a difference.
Now, that's important. You can have a scratch, but it won't show up because because you're focusing so far in the distance?
Exactly. The scratch is really close. Your camera will never be able to focus that close. So you end up with this scratch being so out of focus that it doesn't really show. You can give this a try. Take a little, hold something small right in front of your camera, very, very close, and you'll see that it's most likely not going to show up. So these are the things that you don't really need the filters for that. Now, what can you do in order to protect your gear? You can, for example, use what's called a lens hood. I see a lot of photographers who buy DSLRs, who buy a lens for the DSLR, and you put this lens hood on, and it kind of makes the lens look bigger and more professional.
That's why I use it.
Yeah, a bit more manly, right?
Yeah, it's more manly.
But there's a good reason for that lens hood. First of all, and that's actually kind of a stand-in for a filter, for a glass filter, it will help protect your lens. You can bang the camera against things, and I've done that a lot, and it won't go through to the lens. It will be caught by that lens hood. But another reason is the lens hood will help you get better quality in your picture. The lens hood will give your pictures more contrast, stuff that actually filters, sometimes especially the cheaper ones, will take out of the picture. So with the glass, sometimes with the glass filter, you end up with less contrast. Using a lens hood, you have more contrast.
Yeah, okay, that's good to know. So we're going to save money. We don't really need it. And if you want to protect your lens, those lens hoods work great. In many cases, you want a lens hood anyway. That all makes sense. You just saved me a lot of time.
I have to say there are a few cases, like if you go and shoot at the beach, and some lenses are only weather sealed if you use a lens hood, if you use a glass filter. So some cases that is really that's really okay to use them. But in, I'd say, 99% of the cases, especially now with the holidays coming up, under the Christmas tree with all these little lights, you know what happens? Sometimes you have a filter on, the light will bounce back between the lens and the filter, and you end up with ghost lights. So all those little Christmas lights will all of a sudden be doubled in your picture, and it'll look really, really weird.
Wow. Now, there are times when you would want to use filters of various kinds. Like I have a neutral density filter that darkens things on a really bright day.
There are a few filters in the digital age that you can still use. They still make a lot of sense. Those are the polarizer. You will want to use one of those in, let's say, for landscape photography, to give more saturation to the colors, or to bring down the brightness of a blue sky to make that more dark, give it more of a an Ansel Adams type of feeling. You can use an ND filter, neutral density filter. It's like sunglasses for the camera. It'll bring down the brightness. Can help you to shoot at a longer shutter speed when you're in the bright sun. Sometimes you want to do that. Like, let's say you wanna make water look more flowing, and in the bright sunlight, that's really difficult unless you have one of these. And then there's very, very specialized ones like an ND grad filter, which is like it's just like the front window on your car, where it's darker on the top and then transparent on the bottom. So you could bring down a sky without darkening down a landscape. So you kind of have a few specialized filters that do make sense, but the UV filter, the skylight filter, the haze filter, these kind of protective filters, I haven't used any of those in years.
No. Yeah. And using those other filters is kind of a more advanced topic that we perhaps should save for another day.
Photography, that's something you might want to look in, but if you're a beginner, you don't need those.
Do they sell filters for point-and-shoot cameras?
They do. Some point-and-shoot cameras have filter threads, and then there are other ways to attach filters to them with little magnet
But you
rings.
don't, again, even though you can't interchange filters on a point-and-shoot, interchange lenses on a point-and-shoot, there's no reason to get a protective filter on a point-and-shoot.
Not really. Most of the point-and-shoots, when you switch them off, they have a little lid that goes on the top of the lens to protect it, or the lens retracts into the camera. So most of these cases, I don't see a good. And if you look at your iPhone or your other smartphone, that lens is constantly exposed. It does have a little protective glass on it, but I've never really had an issue with scratching or dinging that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, nobody's selling lens filters to protect iPhones to my knowledge, but I wouldn't be surprised if somebody does start doing that. You can find Chris Marquardt, his workshops, and more at his website, chrismarquardt.com, ChrisMarquardt.com. If that's too much, just go to our website, techguylabs.com, and we'll have a link there. Now, we have a photo assignment, an ongoing photo assignment. I want to encourage everybody to participate, not because there's prizes or even really recognition. The idea of it is just to get you out there on the street taking pictures. Every month, Chris gives us a new assignment. What is our assignment this week, Chris?
Well, the current assignment is weather, and it's just started, so you have another couple of weeks to participate. Shouldn't be too hard to find some weather photos this time of year. Here's what you do. Go to Flickr. You have to be a Flickr member, but that's free. And if you have a Yahoo account, Flickr's a Yahoo site, you already have a Flickr account. If not, just create one. And then search for groups. The group that you're looking for is the Tech Guy group. You'll know you're there because it has more than 9,000 members, more than 2,000 photos. And already there's some pictures of weather there. What you'll want to do is take a picture. This has to be new pictures, fresh pictures, something you've never taken a picture for. Because the point is to get you out here. Yeah, of course you can put an old picture up there, but what have we gained? We want to get you out there taking pictures of weather. And then you can do a new one a week, so pick your best picture each week. That means 4 pictures total. Tag it with the word weather. And put it up in the Tech Guy site. And Renee Silverman, our group administrator, will welcome you. She will thank you. And Chris, in about 3 weeks, will pick some pictures for us to review. Thank you, Chris. Absolutely. I'll see you next time. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Back we go to the phones. Josh is our next caller. Hi, Josh. Leo Laporte here.
Hey, Leo.
Welcome to the show. Thanks for hanging on. What can I do for you?
Well, I just got a new MacBook Air.
Yay! Boy, Mom and Dad like you.
Actually, I bought it myself.
Oh, I'm impressed. From your paper route?
I wish I had a paper route.
You've been saving your money. Maybe it was your bar mitzvah money, but that's nice. That's a nice computer.
Yeah, I got pretty much the cheapest model, refurbished, 11-inch.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. I got one right here, and I tell you, they're the lightest. A lot of times people say, "Well, why don't you carry your iPad around?" Because I got a MacBook Air.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm getting an iPad at the end of the year, so I'll have one of those too. Wow.
Rock on. Well, what can I do to help you, Josh?
Well, I was wondering about the MacBook Air, and I was wondering, I have a ton of DVDs. And is there a way to import those DVDs to my MacBook Air?
Yeah, you need a super drive, though, because as you know, the MacBook Air doesn't have an optical drive. It's one of the ways it gets so thin and light. You can, for I think $100, I can't remember what Apple charges, but you can get a USB super drive that hooks up to that. And then you need software that'll rip them. Are they Blu-ray or regular DVDs?
Regular DVDs.
Good news. It's easy to rip those. Blu-ray's a lot more complicated, and you need a much more expensive drive. So assuming that you have a computer at home that will play DVDs, or you can buy a super drive for your MacBook Air, you just need a DVD ripping program. Free and available and easy to use. It's called Handbrake. Handbrake, like a handbrake in a car.fr. It's from France. Handbrake.fr. Now, Handbrake didn't want to get in trouble with the motion picture industry, so they said, we're going to take our decryption software out. That was the software that took the copy protection out of the DVD. They said, we don't want to do that. But there's another French company that will. And if you install Videolan, VLC, Videolan client, from videolan.org, and Handbrake, neither of which cost anything, both of which are good to have. Videolan plays back DVDs, and that's why it works, because in order to play back the DVD, it has to unlock it, right? So you stick the DVD in the drive, Videolan client will run, unlock it, it leaves the key in memory, Handbrake says, thank you very much, I'll take it from here, and rips the DVD into a file, fairly compact, about a gigabyte per movie, onto your hard drive.
Okay.
So two programs you need, VLC from videolan.org and Handbrake from handbrake.fr. Now, I got to tell you, Josh, remember, the motion picture industry employs a great many people in your neck of the woods. They're good people. And so we don't want to steal movies, so only do this to movies you already own, right? Don't do it to movies you've rented. Don't do it to your friends' movies. Do it to movies you bought just as a convenience to put it on your hard drive, right?
Right. And I can do that from a Mac Mini, too?
Yep. In fact, it's easier because it already has a super drive in it, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So
and then do not give it away to friends either, because we don't want to be a pirate. This is just to make archival copies of movies we already own, right?
No,
never do that.
No.
Technically, it's illegal to do this, but there's no judge in the land that would ever convict somebody for making archival copies of their own stuff. If you say, look, I bought it, I paid for it, I own this movie, I just can't play it on my Air because it doesn't have a DVD player, so I put a copy on the Air, you're not going to get in trouble for that. If you put a blanket out in front of your house with DVD copies and you sell them to the neighbors, then you're going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know that, Josh.
Yeah.
I would be remiss if I didn't tell you the legalities of this. There's a uncodified but generally accepted thing called fair use. It's a defense. It's not a law. It's a defense. But fair use gives you some exemptions. And in my opinion, and I'm not a lawyer, but in my opinion, one of the fair use exemptions is to make backup copies of DVDs you already own. That's what you're doing. That's fair use of your own property. Okay, Josh? Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. Good luck. I was at Universal Studios the other day, and they have signs everywhere, saying, save your jobs, don't pirate, things like that. I'm certainly not in favor of piracy. But I have to acknowledge that the companies that hold on with clenched fists to their content often teach people to be pirates, because there's no other way to get the content. So I encourage companies, make it easy to buy digital copies. I love what they're doing now with Blu-rays, where they're putting digital versions on the Blu-ray that you can then copy to your iPad or iPhone. I think that's a good idea. Don't encourage people to steal. Make it easy for them to be legitimate consumers. And I think all of us, including 14-year-old Josh, who's clearly got a little disposable income, I think all of us want to pay for content. We know there's a cost to making it. We don't want to steal it. We just want the convenience of, say, being able to play it back on a diskless computer. Jeff in North Carolina, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Jeff. Thanks for hanging on.
Hey, Leo. Really appreciate what you do for all of us. Thank you.
My pleasure.
And I remember some time ago you saying we shouldn't be embarrassed or afraid to call you because whatever problem we have, thousands of other people have it, but they don't have the guts to call. So
right.
Here I am.
There are no dumb questions. Give me your your not so dumb question.
Okay, I'm going to do my best to remember what I did because it was months ago.
Okay.
I have an old Lenovo ThinkPad that I'm reasonably happy with. I swapped out the hard drive from 3-something to 750. I made an image of the old hard drive.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, got a box, put the new drive in the box, or somehow got the contents of the old drive. I think I didn't make an image. I think what I did is I did it with the box.
So the advantage of doing an image is you get every sector. If you just do a drag and copy, you may miss key files that aren't copied because they're invisible.
Yeah, I think so. So what's happened from that moment is that Windows doesn't run correctly. For example, it won't update anymore.
Yeah.
So obviously something was...
You missed some key files. The only way to do this successfully is to use an image or sector-by-sector copy. By the way, all the hard drive manufacturers offer these for free. So if you got a Western Digital drive or a Seagate or an IBM or Hitachi or whoever the heck makes drives these days, if you go to their website, they'll have disk copy utilities designed to do exactly what you just did. You take the new drive, put it in an external, you make a one-to-one copy. That's what you want, a one-to-one copy. Because the reason is there's system files and hidden files that will not get copied by a normal copy process, and that's what you're running into.
So let me tell you where I'm at now. So I've stopped using the old drive. I'm still with the 350.
Right.
I got Windows that won't update. Somehow the computer continues to work.
Here's what I would do. Reinstall Windows. You've got the Windows disk. Run through a Windows repair. So you'll put the Windows install disk, run it as if it's going to install. It'll go, wait a minute, there's Windows on here, and say, yeah, would you repair that? And with any luck, that'll now go through and say, oh, you're missing this, 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 and this, and it should fix everything. That's the easiest way. Otherwise, you're going to have to back out, do what you did originally, but use the sector-by-sector copying program instead. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I am Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Richard in West, very important distinction here, West Los Angeles. Hi, Richard. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
You bet it's important. Good to talk to you. I have a 35-foot HDMI cable which connects two devices that are about 25 feet apart.
That's a long cable.
I know. I needed it. I had no choice.
Yeah.
But it works well. But I tried to use that same cable connecting a couple of devices that are about 8 feet apart, and I couldn't get a connection.
Oh, isn't that funny? It works fine 25 feet apart, but it won't work 8. Well, that doesn't make any sense.
That's what I said, and I said, well, Leo would know about this.
So HDMI is digital, right? It's not an analog cable. So a lot of the flaws that analog cables are heir to, crosstalk and interference and stuff, are not as much of a problem on HDMI. In general, either it works or it doesn't. If the packets get there because of error correction and everything, it's going to work fine. There are some little issues, jitter and stuff that can be caused that might slow things down, cause some weird effects. And generally, it's on the longer cables that these things happen. In my opinion, and every expert I've checked with, anything less than a 6-foot, a 2-meter HDMI cable, gold-plated brass connector $300 HDMI cable is no better than the $2.50 cable from Monoprice. As you get longer, then maybe it becomes more of an issue. Now, what's weird is that your cable's working fine when it's stretched out. So what could be happening is when you coil it up, it could be causing more interference. And that might just be enough to put it over the threshold. So HDMI doesn't generally degrade, it just doesn't work.
I see. So the best thing to do then, from what you're suggesting, is that I get a shorter cable to connect the two devices that are closer together.
Yeah, that'd be the easiest solution. I mean, you could try to stretch the cable out and drape it. The other thing is you want to keep it away from electrical power cables. That 60 hertz electrical power can interfere as well.
Right.
So that's the only thing I can think of, is that because the cable is so long, when you're using it in a shorter situation, you're coiling it up, and that may be causing some electrical interference coming out through the cable.
I see. Yeah.
You're in effect, you're creating a coil.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which is like an antenna, right?
And when I stretch it out, even for the 25 feet, it isn't completely flat, but it does work. But I'm sure when I tried it a little while ago with the one that's much closer, it was coiled up a bit.
It could be that, and it could also be because the devices are different. Maybe there's an incompatibility, although HDMI generally does not suffer from that. There are different versions, but I've never seen an HDMI cable not work because it's the wrong version. Go to monoprice.com. They're cheap, cheap, cheap.
Oh, yeah, I was just on the website, and I was just pricing those, as a matter of fact.
$3, $4.
Yeah, I noticed.
And then you don't have to unplug it and replug it anyway, right?
Right, oh, yeah.
Yeah, might as well get the right cable for the job.
Thanks again.
Hey, my pleasure. It's a great question, and I may be completely off base on that. Generally speaking, digital should not really have the same kind of interference problems that analog cables have. And it's certainly true in shorter cables they don't, but I have heard people, and I've never experienced it myself, but I have heard experts say, well, you get to a 10-meter cable, 30-foot cable, you got to be a little careful. Then it does kind of matter. Shielding may be important, things like that. So I'm only thinking, because it's such a long cable, if it got coiled up, that's what happens. You create inductance, and that could in fact be screwing with the bits. You don't want to mess with the bits. Walt in Los Angeles, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Walt.
Oh, ho.
Welcome.
Can you hear me? Oh, okay.
Oh, I hear you great. I know there's that big clunk when I press the button. I apologize.
Yeah, I had a problem with my Mac Mini last week. It was about it's a 2.5-year-old that we had a power outage and the power just very briefly clicked off 3 times within a...
it's not the outages that are the problem. It's when it comes back on, there's often big surges.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I couldn't get it to start up.
Oh.
And then I looked for the discs that came with it, and finally I put a disc in, and it wouldn't start up, and I left it overnight, and then the next day when I ejected the disc, it started up.
Really?
And
it's healed.
It healed itself.
And it's working fine now?
Huh?
It's working fine now?
Fine. But I actually am watching you on TV right now from another Mac Mini that I had hooked up.
There is on Macintoshes, there is non-volatile areas of non-volatile memory, just as there are on PCs. They call it parameter RAM. And it might have been zapped and maybe somehow got recreated. Everything's fine now?
Yes, but my question now is on that, it's running 10.68. I was wondering how I could make a backup that I could use to happen again.
Now, see, that's it. That's why disasters are good.
Yeah.
They remind us. So there are a couple of really good programs for the Mac. The one I always recommend and I really love, it's free, but there's a paid version as well. And I pay for it because I want to support this guy. It's called Super Duper.
Okay.
And Super Duper will make a bootable backup of any Mac drive, and that's just what you want. You get an external drive or even a USB key if it's big enough, and it'll make it'll copy everything on that drive, that Mac Mini, onto that thing in such a way that you could say the hard drive died in the Mac Mini, plug in the USB drive, hold down the Option key when you boot. The Macintosh would boot to the external drive. It would be identical, and Super Duper will keep it identical if you keep it running in the background. It'll make sure that it's always up to date.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I love it. Every Mac owner should have a copy of Super Duper. This is the best local backup solution for the Mac.
Okay, one other short question.
Sure.
I was using that as a media hub with Elgato ITV.
Perfect.
And I wanted to set up another one, so I just bought a new Mini that I have hooked up, and actually I'm watching you on that now. But unlike the older one, this one tends to get hot and the fan comes on a lot.
Yeah, because they're a lot faster.
Yeah, so
that's annoying, though, isn't it? On a home theater PC, you want them to be silent.
Yeah, I know. So I'm wondering, this is one of the top end models with the. I was wondering if I got one of the slower ones, whether that would be less.
Well, the current Mac Minis are both i5s, so I don't think it's going to make too much difference. Those are going to be run fairly hot.
Okay.
So so the fan comes on a lot.
A lot. It's not on right now, but
that's annoying.
Really, so
yeah, that's annoying. And it's just because they put faster processors in.
Okay.
And it's a tighter case, right? Because it doesn't have the optical drive, so it's a thinner, tighter case than it used to be.
Okay, well, that's anyway.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything you can do about it. Now, what you could do is keep the case cool.
Yeah.
So make sure it's not in a enclosed space. It's got air flowing both top and bottom. It's on little feet, so it'll have air go through it.
It's out open, unfortunately.
Yeah. I think that's just I never thought about that, but that is a disadvantage of these faster processors. And the truth is, you probably don't even need it for a home theater PC. Wish there were a solution for that one. Thank you, Walt. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I am Leo Laporte, the tech guy. He is, that guy there, Scott Wilkinson, the home theater guy. He joins us every week to talk about home theater. Hello, Scott.
Hey, Leo. How you doing?
Columnist at the Secrets of Home Theater and Hi-Fi at hometheaterhifi.com. He also does a great podcast, the Home Theater Geek Podcast, Mondays, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern Time on twit.tv. But you can go and get on-demand versions of all the shows you've done up to date, and some great people on those at twit.tv/HTG. So Scott's going to be here next week for all 3 hours of the show.
You bet. Can't wait. It's going to be super fun.
Excited. You just do home theater when you fill in, right?
Primarily, yes. That's exactly right.
Home theater and sack butts.
Yeah, anybody have a sack butt question? I'd be happy to answer that.
Now,
as
people
well.
are probably 90% of the people listening think I'm talking about baggy drawers, but we're talking about an instrument, a medieval instrument that Scott plays. Scott plays any wind instrument, but that's one.
Just about any wind instrument.
That and the shofar are in great demand, apparently.
Yeah, the shofar was last month, or a couple months ago, but.
Yeah,
and the vuvuzela. I can't wait to play your vuvuzela when I get up there.
I have 2 vuvuzelas, so you could have a little vuvuzela symphony. But if you don't mind, do that on somebody else's radio show.
No, the sackbut is the medieval and Renaissance trombone, and it's very similar to the trombone that we know today, except the bell isn't quite as big.
Yeah.
It's got a mellower sound. Anybody's ever been to the Renaissance fair, to some Renaissance fair, you will probably see somebody playing the sackbut in their tights and doublets.
And when I wear tights, sackbutt's exactly the word you would use. Scott Wilkinson, you got any questions from the vast listenership that you'd like to answer?
I do indeed. I've got Mike Polk has written in about he has got a 5-year-old Sony Bravia TV, a 32-incher, and he needs an upgrade. And so he is wondering about Vizio or Samsung. Mostly be using the TV for movies and TV and a little gaming, and he's sitting about 14 feet away from the screen, and all he's got is a 32-inch. Now, my first thought is, well, you got to get a bigger TV than that, because sitting 14 feet away, the ideal size is probably something on the order of 90 inches, which is not going to be practical because he says his budget is about $200 to $700, so you're not going to get a 90-incher.
That's something people don't realize is that you want a bigger screen than you think.
That's correct. Because and that is for what we call immersion. If you're watching a movie, you really want to be immersed in it so that you can get lost in the story, right? And that really requires a bigger screen than most people think they need. And so often I hear people, they go and they get a 32-inch TV. They say, oh, that's going to be plenty big. And they get it home and they're sitting 10 or 15 feet away and they go, that seems kind of small to me. So I recommend getting the biggest you can. You're not going to get, for $200 to $700, you're not going to get a TV that is big enough for 14 feet of seating distance. So I just recommend getting the biggest one you can afford. And again, I normally recommend, he's also in a bright room, so you need a lot of light coming off this TV, at least during the day. I recommend the Samsung 5000 series of LED illuminated TVs. They're very bright. They have LED backlighting, unlike most LCD TVs, which have the LEDs around the side of the edges of the screen, which makes for a very thin TV, but it also makes it very uneven, especially in dark scenes. If you watch a lot of science fiction with outer space scenes, you'll see that this outer space in the corners of the screen is a little lighter than in the middle of the screen. So having LEDs in the back of the screen makes that much better, makes it much more uniform. Now, the EH5000, I believe you can certainly get a 40-inch for like on the $700 side of things. Samsungs are a little more expensive than, say, Vizios. And Vizios are generally good, too. I would say you might even be able to get a bigger one than 40-inch from Vizio. And they even have a few that have LED backlights, but those are going to be more expensive because it's more expensive to make a TV with LEDs behind the screen rather than along the edges. Vizio makes both kinds. Samsung only makes that's not true. Samsung makes both kinds too. This new EH5000 and the little more expensive 6000 have LEDs behind them. The difference is the Vizio TVs with LED backlighting have a feature called local dimming, which means that the LEDs behind the bright parts of the picture get brighter, and the LEDs behind the dark parts of the picture get darker. So this is very, very good. If you can afford a TV with this feature, it's really great. The Samsung EH5000 and 6000 do not have local dimming. They have LEDs behind the screen, which makes for better uniformity, but they don't have this local dimming, which is a pretty expensive thing to implement. It requires some sophisticated video processing in the electronics of the TV. And so to keep the cost down, the EH series is the sort of the entry level of Samsung TVs. They didn't implement local dimming. So that's the one disadvantage. Still in all, I reviewed the EH6000, and it looked fabulous. For the money, it's hard to beat.
Is local dimming on LCD, does that make LCD preferable to plasma? I mean, is that a feature? You can't do that with plasma, right? It's just...
No, because plasma is naturally local dimming.
Right.
Each pixel can be dimmed or brightened individually.
Based on the signal.
Yes, local dimming is a solution to a problem that LCDs had compared to plasmas.
It fixes
something that plasmas don't have a problem with to begin with.
Whew, it's such a relief. I bought a new TV for the new place, and I bought a plasma. And
I couldn't agree more.
Okay. It's pretty bright, I have to say. In the past we've said plasma is not ideal unless you can darken the room and so forth. But I got the Panasonic Viera GT50, a 65-inch version of that, and it looks fine, TV. Even in a somewhat daylit room. It looks just fine. Even better, of course, in the dark. Hey, Panasonic was making little noises about getting out of the TV business. Have you heard anything about that?
No, not out of the TV business.
Because I killed Pioneer, so now I guess I'm going to kill Panasonic. Alrighty.
Well, Pioneer was making TVs so expensive that very few people could afford them.
Right.
So this is a problem there. I don't think Panasonic's getting out of the TV business. They are getting more into the LCD business.
Oh, maybe they're getting out of the plasma business then.
I hope not, because I think they make the best plasmas on the market today.
Well, Pioneer made the best plasmas when they got out of the market, didn't they?
Yeah, but they were 2 or 3 times as expensive as the Panasonics.
Yeah.
So the Panasonics are still cost effective. I
just figured it's because I bought one. I bought a Pioneer Kuro right before they went out of business.
Before they went out of business, yeah. No, I don't think Panasonic's going to get out of the TV business. But they are putting more and more investment into LCD because that is the majority of the TV market.
Right.
And I keep telling people, plasma, if you want the best picture quality, plasma is the way to go.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have any of the problems that LCDs have tried to fix.
Right. Scott, I am really thrilled that you're going to be filling in for me next week. I know we have lots of people who just have been waiting to ask questions about. Now, tell me, what for you, what does home theater mean? What is the area that you're going to be willing to cover?
I'm going to be willing to cover anything. I'm going to be covering TVs, projectors, screens.
Audio too, right?
AV receivers, speakers, streaming, I'm also going to have a couple of interesting guests on. Gary Rizzo is a re-recording engineer, Academy Award-winning re-recording engineer, whose current project is Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh, that looks like such a funny movie.
Looks so fun. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to that. Also, the director of Rise of the Guardians, a new Christmas movie, animated Christmas movie coming out. It's got a little edge to it. I'm real happy to talk to him about that because I saw the trailers for it, and that also looks really, really good.
Fun. Scott Wilkinson, home theater guru. You can catch his column at Home Theater. Secrets of Home Theater and Hi-Fi. That's hometheaterhifi.com. You can also catch his podcast on Home Theater Geeks at twit.tv every Monday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. Thank you, Scott, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Take care.
You bet. Have fun on your trip.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We are talking about computers and the internet and the cell phones. Lots of the cell phones. Let's see. Let's go to Cameron in Yorba Linda, California. Hi, Cameron. Leo Laporte here.
Hey, Leo. Love the show.
Thank you.
I love it.
Appreciate it.
So I'm in college, and I'm in this technology class, and I look around. People open up their laptops and they dual boot and stuff, and I see backtracking on a few. So I was wanting to maybe set up.
So you got a bunch of hackers in class with you there.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, my friend Patrick Norton used to do the screensavers with me. He goes every year to cover DEF CON, the big hacker conference right after Black Hat in Vegas. And he never brings a computer with him. He says, I don't want to get hacked. If you
end up on the wall of shame.
The wall of sheep, they call it, for people who've been hacked. They actually put your stuff up on the wall. It's embarrassing. You know about this. So you don't want you don't want up in the wall of sheep at your class. So what can I do to help you not get sheepified?
So I want to try to set up maybe a SSH tunnel, maybe something like that.
You're smart man. That's the way to do it. An SSH tunnel is a special example of what is essentially a VPN. The idea that we're going to create, we want to be on the internet, we want to be on a Wi-Fi network, but what we don't want to do is have people see what we're doing. And of course, when you're on a radio system, you're broadcasting. You know, people can hear my voice because we're sending unencrypted traffic through the airwaves, and their radio has an antenna. It grabs it and puts it in the radio, decodes it, and plays it out through the speaker. That's the same with your data if somebody has appropriate software. So what we want to do, unlike a radio broadcast, what we'd like to do is somehow encapsulate everything we send through the air with a protective shield. You use the words SSH tunnel. That's a very good way to do it and to describe it. It's a tunnel, an encrypted tunnel using something called SSH or secure shell that surrounds all the unencrypted data we're sending. That tunnel is all those kids using backtrack in your class can see, but once it gets to the other end, you realize you have to have SSH on both sides, a client and a server. It gets decrypted and then used by the computer, and you are now safe surfing. A VPN is a little easier to set up. An SSH tunnel is great if you have a computer, let's say in your dorm room or somewhere, maybe at home, that's safe.
I have a computer that I'm not using, so I could put maybe Linux on it.
Yeah, SSH is generally, you can use it on Windows, but you'd need some special software. If you have a Mac or a Linux machine, it's easy. It comes with SSH, and SSH tunneling is just a kind of special use of SSH. I'm not a big expert in SSH tunneling, but there are articles. This is actually a great project for you on how to do it. You'd probably use something called OpenSSH, which is like OpenVPN. It's a software that lets you set up the tunnel. But because it's SSH, it's command line, baby. Are you pretty comfortable with secure shell and command line, bash, and all that?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you're a computer science guy. You don't need me to help you with this. For people who are not computer science wizards, a VPN is an easier solution, and there are a lot of companies that offer VPN. Not this one. There are a lot of You got to type the name right, or you're going to get something you didn't wish you got. There are a lot of companies that offer VPN as a service for a fee. In fact, tons of them.
Yeah.
I'm not. OpenVPN.net is the company that is the software that most of them use. It's open source software. There's Strong VPN. There's Hotspot Shield, which I've used for some time. They cost money, $6 or $7 a month, though, right? So, wow, this is good. Now you can use Hotspot Shield free if you don't mind ads on it. That's easier for most people than setting up an SSH tunnel. An SSH tunnel you control. It's your computers, your software, and you know exactly what's happening, and it's free. So I think for you, especially given your studies, this would be an excellent choice is to do it yourself.
Cool.
Yeah, good idea. Get those hackers sitting next to you in class. It's the modern equivalent of looking over somebody's shoulder to get their answers on the quiz. You just pick up their traffic. Tunnel Bear. There's another one that people like a lot. Tunnel Bear is very popular. I think that's free. 8888 ask Leo. That's the phone number. Larry in Florida. You're next. Hi, Larry.
Clearwater. Have you got me? Can you hear me all right?
I got you. 5x5 Clearwater.
Okay, good. I picked up an S3 yesterday and had some problems. Well, the first thing I noticed, she says, "Oh, here's your SD card." And she took it off my old phone, which was in the alley, and she put it in there. I said, "Well, don't I get a new one?" She said, No, you got one right here. So she put it in.
It doesn't. Now, you're not talking about the SIM. You're talking about the SSD.
Yes,
because they if you're on AT&T or T-Mobile, they'll take the SIM out of your old phone, which looks very similar, and they'll put that in the new phone. That's how they transfer your number. On Verizon and Sprint, they have to do it programmatically. But so there's two slots in your Galaxy S3. There's one for the SSD card and one for the SIM card. I presume you know the difference. So this SSD is a little black chip-like card. I would probably want to format that if they're cheap, by the way. You can buy a new SD.
I know that because I told her, look, and this was while I was still in my old phone. And I said, put it back in here. She put it back in there, and I was getting a message that my SD card has to be reformatted.
Oh, maybe maybe the S3 reformatted it in the brief amount of time that it had access to it.
Could be.
Oh, that's frustrating.
Well,
Thank that very kind representative. Was it AT&T? Who was it?
No, Verizon. Well, and it was a new girl.
She was trying to be helpful. She said, "We just put that right in there." Yeah, but you can, $25 for a SanDisk micro SD card, 32 gigs. They're cheap. I would just buy a new one. And yeah, you might have to. What was the phone that the old phone?
It was an Alley.
An Alley, okay.
LG Alley.
Yeah, you probably could just format it again. Was there data on it that you'll miss?
Well, when you say data, there were some pictures.
Yeah. Well, I hope you back those up, and I hope you.
Okay, but here's what why I was having a little difficulty last night. I wanted to get onto my wireless, and it wouldn't accept that.
Okay. Now, this is something I've noted with Galaxy S3s. They require pretty strong Wi-Fi, and lately I noticed on my Galaxy S3, I don't know why, it was having more trouble with Wi-Fi than it used to. I suspect that they're suffering from something that a lot of Wi-Fi devices will be suffering from. They don't discriminate well, and there's so many Wi-Fi signals out there that they're just getting confused. We had a caller a couple of weeks ago that said he was having trouble with his Wi-Fi on his S3. I would bring it back and say, I can't get on the Wi-Fi. Have you tried other Wi-Fis? Hello? Apparently it's also dropping calls a lot. I think we lost him. This I noticed with my Galaxy S3 too. Now I put a mod on there, cyanogen mod, and it really messed up the Wi-Fi. But before that, I'd noticed that it was having trouble. If you can't get on your Wi-Fi, take it back. It must be that some of them are having trouble. That's all I can think of. I noticed the same thing. Now, I just upgraded the Galaxy Note 2, and it's doing just fine with all my Wi-Fi. If you have 5 gigahertz, you might try that. Sometimes that's better. I just think that Wi-Fi is getting tough with all the congestion. I am Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Let's see. We got lots of calls. You know the answers to all these calls. They're not on the website yet, but they will be. As soon as I figure out what the answer is, we'll put them up on the website, techguylabs.com. That's where the link to the chat room is. And all of our previous shows. So you can go back in time and listen to the answers from previous shows. Do some searching, too. It's a good way to find information. techguylabs.com. Let's go to line 1. Shirley on the line from Laguna Niguel, California. Hi, Shirley.
Hi, Leo.
Thank you for being patient. I'm sorry we ran out of time, but this is perfect.
No, that's better. That way I don't make a fool of myself on the radio.
Oh, well, you will, believe me. I mean, no. I mean, no, you won't make a fool of yourself, but you will be on the radio.
Okay.
I can't say that there won't be anybody listening.
Okay.
All right.
I have a question regarding my Kindle Fire that I got as a gift for Christmas.
Yay.
And I've been able to watch ABC.com shows whenever they wipe out my soap opera.
But all of a sudden it stopped working, didn't it?
Working, and I've researched everything that I can, and it looks like I have the latest Adobe.
No, it's not you.
Not me, huh?
It's them.
Okay.
They decided they didn't want you doing that.
Okay.
And this is a real flaw in general with being able to consume content on the internet, is that the networks are very ambivalent about this. They're afraid of it.
Okay.
So you're not the first person to complain about this. What happens is all of the networks do from time to time offer their content online, whether it's on Hulu or on their own website.
Okay.
But they frequently throw up roadblocks. For instance, even though they put this stuff on Hulu, you can't watch it on some devices. They want you to be watching it on a desktop computer, but not a portable device. They did
right, which I still can. Yeah.
Yeah. See, so you can go to abc.com and watch it on your computer. Why they think there's a difference between the Kindle and a computer is anybody's guess. It's equivalent to the medieval art of weighing a witch to see if if a witch weighed as much as a duck, she's a witch. No, it makes no sense. It's not. This is a computer. A Kindle is a computer.
Right.
So it's all because of their deeply terrifying ambivalence about the idea of putting content on the internet as opposed to on cable. They realize they kind of need to, like that's where the world is headed.
Right.
But they're ambivalent about it. So they change their policy all the time. ABC used to let you do it. Then they said, no, we do, no. Computer, yes. Kindle, no. Nothing you can do about it.
And it's weird because on a soap opera, you're going to look for an old episode that you missed, and it's only going to make you watch it on live TV even more.
You don't have to tell me. I know they're stupid. It's just stupid.
So there's nothing I can do. I know I went to abc.com, and they have an app for the iPhone and the iPad.
Right.
So why is that good?
I don't know.
Are they in cahoots with...
No, it has nothing to do with that. It has more to do... Seriously, so put yourself in an executive's shoes. By the way, remember how the record industry really screwed up the music business by, being ambivalent about digital?
Right.
It's happening again. So they understand this is a train coming right at them. They know that people... But the problem is that they have deals with the cable companies and the satellite companies, and... If you think the networks are scared of this, the cable and satellite companies are 10 times more scared. So they tell companies like ABC, well, you can make. They often tell ABC, no, you can do this, but you can't do that. Mm-hmm. And so it's just that we're in this transitional period.
Sure.
And unfortunately, this happened with ABC, and it baffles me.
I tried NBC, too, to see whether it was just ABC, and I couldn't get on NBC.com either last night.
Yeah. So you used to be able to.
Yes.
That's the irony of it. Same thing on Google TV. You can watch it on your television, but not through Google TV, even though you're still watching on the TV. So these guys are just messed up. And unfortunately, the way the Fire is, you can't, unless you jailbreak it, you can't really do anything but use the feature built into the Fire. You have to use the Fire's own browser, stuff like that.
Right, the Safari.
Yeah. So you're just, unfortunately, and here's the good news: they'll probably change their mind in about a month, and it'll be something else again.
They get enough complaints.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is that ABC in Los Angeles keeps wiping out shows every time there's something they figure is newsworthy, and then they take off what's ever on live TV, and it makes
that's nice. So they had that car chase, and you missed Days of Our Lives.
Right, and it makes us soap opera fans crazy because even my husband watches it with me at night. We watch it because it's better than most of the live TV. So.
And you hit the nail on the head. It's not going to cost them anything. Even if you don't see the ads on that episode, these are serials. You watch one, you want to watch the next one.
Sure, and you want to keep up. So.
Yeah, so it just makes you watch more. They're stupid. And I'm not ashamed to say it. It's very frustrating. It really is, and I don't blame you at all. But you're not alone. Everybody's experiencing this.
Oh, everybody's complaining. Yeah, I went online and I did find some.
Well, here's the interesting thing. All this does is push people to piracy, because anything you want to watch, you can pirate. I'm not going to tell you how, but it wouldn't. This is the law of unintended consequences is by cutting this legitimate legal channel off. Somebody who's motivated to will now learn how to pirate TV shows, because every show you'd ever want is available for download from BitTorrent sites. So all it does is it teaches you how to steal it. And by the way, the quality's better, the commercials are cut out, and it's available whenever and wherever you want it.
Sure.
So how dumb are they?
Yeah, I just thought it might be some deal they had with whoever makes
it. It might be. It might be. If it could, it's not a deal with Apple. It's a deal, if anything, with the cable companies. The cable companies may have said to them, "Hey, you want to stay on Comcast? You better not make it available on the Kindle Fire."
Because won't eventually cable TV be gone and it'll all be on the internet?
Don't say that out loud. That's why they're so scared. Yes, of course it will be. And frankly, I think they're just hastening their demise. But didn't stop the record industry from doing dumb things.
Right.
Copy protection and all that stuff. And what happened? People just pirated the music. Napster happened.
Right.
So we're in the same. You'd think they'd have learned. And the real truth of this is, and I've talked to so many executives, they know everything we're saying. And what, for the most part, their attitude is, I know it's going to happen. I just don't want it to happen until I retire. Just as long as it doesn't happen on my watch. I'm going to retire in 5 years, and then the kids can figure it out.
Oh, that's funny. That sounds like me.
It's me and you, of course. It's exactly how we think. You can understand that. It's a very human thing.
Right.
I know this is going to look. I know the whole business is about to change. Just please, can I just let me get my pension, go and watch, and then you can do anything you want.
How true.
Yep. Hey, I'm sorry that happened to Shirley. As far as I know, there is no way around it. You're really at the mercy of ABC and NBC and what they have, in their infinite wisdom, decided to let you do.
So I have to just do it with Wi-Fi on a regular laptop.
Yeah. That's what's funny is, of course, you just pull out your laptop and do it, and you can do it.
Tried that last night, and unfortunately, my son had disabled the Wi-Fi on my husband's laptop because he just put them on cable, and I didn't know he had done that, and I couldn't figure out, why am I not getting this on the laptop either? So.
Well, and then they only leave it online for a while, and so if you miss it and you can't figure out how to get it within the few days, then you're really out of luck.
Yeah.
So watch. See how long it takes before you figure out how to pirate it.
Well, I'll tell my son, please.
He knows. I promise you he knows exactly. Just tell him, son, I'd like to watch this. Okay, Mom, no problem. Do you want it in 1080p?
He's not that good yet. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the problem is most of us are not. We're honest. People are honest. I don't believe people are dishonest. There are some. Most people want to pay for content. They want content. They love we love our shows. We're not trying to rip you off, so stop treating us like thieves. Thanks, Shirley. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I am Leo Laporte, the tech guy. This guy right here, he's Dick DeBartolo, the gadget guy, the gizwiz we call him. He joins us every week round about this time to talk about the latest doodads and G-Jaw. Is it G-Jaw or Gigaw? You would know.
I think it's Gigaws.
Gigaws.
Or EGADs. Maybe it's EGADs. I think when you go to Sky Mall and you see something,
EGADs.
EGADs.
We have had some fun. You know, we do a show together called The Gizwiz, weekly show gadget roundup, and I do a segment on it, junk I found on Sky Mall. And we actually let the viewers vote. And some of the things that the touchless toilet seat that didn't go all the way up.
Did it ever come down?
Never came down either,
yet?
no.
No, okay.
3 weeks ago. That was a flop in more ways than one.
Yeah, exactly.
I just got 10 iPhone helicopters by accident. I think I must have pressed instead of 1, 10.
Wow.
The union suit, the rainbow-colored union suit, tie-dye, that was a popular Sky Mall gadget. I have a lot of Sky Mall gadgets now. And of course, as you know, I'm going to Australia, and I have it's a very long flight, 14-and-a-half-hour flight, and I have giant pillows, I have head massagers, I have neck braces, and of course, the rainbow-colored union suit. I am going to be the most unusual person on that plane.
I have the feeling that the plane is going to take off with you on the jetway saying, come on, I need all this stuff.
It's a long flight. Anyway, Dick, you may know the name Dick DeBartolo. You probably do. I certainly did when I first met Dick. I said, wait a minute, you're Dick DeBartolo. You mean Mad Magazine's maddest writer? Yes. Continuous presence in Mad Magazine for 50 years now. And he's not even that old. It's kind of amazing.
No, I'm 35. It's just amazing. Amazing. Well, when I first met you, I said, are you the person that in the future will invent the netcast?
It's me.
And you said, doesn't sound familiar.
No,
I said, trust me. It will. It will.
He can see the future.
It will in a while.
Well, the amazing thing is all that money he's made from Mad Magazine, he's pumped into worthless gadgets, and now he has a large collection thereof.
Oh, well, today are useful gadgets.
These are more pet stuff? Because that was fun last week.
No. We're talking about the next generation in lighting. Everybody now is using compact flash. Everybody knows they're saving a ton of money.
Compact fluorescent. I'm not using
compact fluorescent. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm so used to saying compact flash.
It does not light up anything except your wallet. Yeah.
Oh, exactly. And then people also saying, how come this light is so ugly? And how come it takes this light 3 minutes to reach full brightness?
Yeah, I'm not a big compact fluorescent fan, I have to say. They save you money, I guess, because they last a long time and they don't use as much power as incandescent lights. But the color's bad. They flicker when they take a little while to come on. They're not dimmable. It just seems like... So you got something better.
Something better. So from two different companies. We talked about this on the Gizwiz, and out of the blue... 3M said, wait a minute, we're in that business too. Here, take a look. So the first thing we'll talk about is a new bulb that's coming, might be out by the time we're talking about this. It's called the Switch 60, the first liquid-cooled LED light bulb.
How interesting.
So one of the problems with LED lights is that, the bulb itself is limitless how long it can last, or it lasts a very long time. They tend to develop heat with the hardware in there that they use, so there's a problem cooling them. So Switch 60 is filled with silicone, and the silicone kind of acts like a lava lamp, pulling the heat and pushing it toward the outside of the globe. So the 60-watt bulb...
So it's not active cooling. It's passively cooled.
It's passive cooling. Yeah. That's exactly right. Yeah. They put a little air conditioner in there, but then the bulbs were coming in at $900 each. We have to get this down.
You don't want your light bulb to be more comfortable on a hot day than you.
No, exactly. Yeah. So the Switch 60 has 10 LEDs and uses 12 watts of energy.
So it's the equivalent. So 12 watts, and it's the equivalent of a 60-watt light bulb.
Of a 60-watt bulb.
So that's good. I mean, that's a fifth of the power.
Exactly.
And what's the color like? Are they?
The color is very pleasant. It's a very warmish white. But the neat thing, Leo, is it's fully dimmable. So one of the problems with LED lights, and just for laughs, I went on the C. Crane website, and they have LED bulbs, but the three I saw said not dimmable. So the Switch 60 is dimmable, and the problem with LEDs and your current dimmers are that LED lights are so efficient that when you put the dimmer all the way down to low, the bulb may just go down 10% of the light it's capable. It just doesn't dim because it's using so little power to begin with. So the Switch 60 works with most current dimmers, and it's coming in at $40 for the 60-watt bulb, and $60 is a 100-watt version.
So it's expensive still. I mean, they were $100, I remember. So,
yeah.
But $40. Do they last longer? They must.
You know what? It was 25. I believe it was 25,000 hours.
Okay, so that's like 20 times longer than a regular bulb.
Exactly.
Okay, so then, so it's comparable to like a $2 light bulb. This $40 light bulb would be about the same.
And also looks much better. Has no mercury in it, so it has several things going for it. So then I got
not to mention the power savings, by the way, which is going to save you money too.
Exactly. So then 3M yesterday sends me a new light bulb, which is their LED light, 60-watt equivalent. And they say over the life of the bulb, you'll save $1.63 a year. So the thing about the 3M bulb is that it is already shipping till Walmart. And I went to the Walmart website. The website said not available online yet. But my local Walmart store, local from says New Jersey, has them in limited supplies, and they're coming in at $25. So it's a 60-watt equivalent, and I think on here I was trying to find out where it would have burned.
And these would fit in the same socket as a regular 60-watt bulb.
Yes,
the same.
Yes, both the Switch and this one. The interesting thing, Leo, is, and I guess it's because of the complicated electronics inside, they both weigh way more than an ordinary bulb. You're talking to a man here who still has his ship 55. I forgot the name of my scale. But my 3M bulb weighs a little more than 8 ounces. And the Switch bulb, I think, weighs 8.8 ounces. So they are heavier than regular incandescent bulbs. I mean,
that would be only an issue on like a desk lamp that it might fall over.
Yeah, exactly.
Table lamps that make a difference.
If it was hanging from the ceiling, I guess it wouldn't much matter. Right. But again, the savings over the life of the bulb can be dramatic. Certainly, the bulb is not going to cost you more than not using LED technology. And this one is, as I said, available in many Walmart stores already. And that's 3M, and it's called the 3M Advanced Light because 3M has a whole line of LED bulbs out already.
So they have a less advanced one for people who
are
less sophisticated.
People who they're like on the cutting, not on the cutting edge.
The dull edge.
Yeah, the dull edge. Yeah, I think your mother bought the kind of advanced. I think your mother bought
less
the
advanced. This is too advanced.
Yes, that's right. I think she bought a technology for old people bulb. I think that's the one she got. Yeah, she got that.
Thomas Edison invented that one.
Yeah, exactly. It has like one LED and a part of it. It's half LED, half incandescent.
Go to gizwiz.biz for a chance to play the What the Heck Is It game, a chance to win an autographed copy of Mad Magazine from this guy right here, Dick DeBartolo. We'll see you again next week, Dick. Thank you for being here.
I'll be here, pal.
All right. And I want you to stick around because more Tech Guy is still to come. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. More of your calls right after this. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. And we are taking your calls and answering your questions. Of course, all the answers, everything I talk about ends up on our website, techguylabs.com, including, for free, a podcast of the show, audio and video available at the website after the fact, techguylabs.com. Justin, I think, is next in Wisconsin. Hi, Justin. Leo Laporte.
Leo.
Hey.
Hey, big fan from back in the day. I've seen you back in the Tech TV days, and I watch you on the TWiT stream all the time on the TWiT TV app on my Nexus 7. It's great.
Thank you, Justin. Rock on. How do you like that Nexus 7? Isn't that nice?
Oh, it's fantastic.
$200.
I bought it. Yeah, I bought it for school. I bought it. I'm 30. I went back to college, and
wow.
Actually,
so it works for you for schoolwork and stuff.
Yeah, I'm able to access all of the PowerPoint presentations my professors put online and stuff. It's great.
This is the Google Nexus 7 tablet. It's built not by Google. I think Asus built it, but it's a great piece of hardware, and the price is right. $200 for the what is it? 8 gigabyte and 16 gigabytes is $250, or is it 16 and 32? But it's very affordable, and I think. Pardon me.
Yeah, it's eight for
$200. I bought the 16 gig for $250. It was worth it, and it's people compare it to the Kindle Fire HD, for instance. They're very similar hardware, but I think it's better. It's just a really nice device.
Oh, it really is.
So, what can I do for you, Justin?
All right. Well, I signed up for a Skype account today, and I'm actually setting it up for my fiance for our home phone, and I have a Bluetooth headset. It works great. I have it synced up to my phone and my Nexus 7, and what I want to be able to do is use a Bluetooth headset and hook it up to my computer for Skype, but I'm looking for a Bluetooth transmitter.
Oh, the computer doesn't have Bluetooth built in.
No, it's a desktop.
Yeah, actually, a lot of desktops now have Bluetooth built in for that very reason, but older ones don't. So right. you want to add Bluetooth to the computer so that you can do this. And there are a number of Sony makes them, Motorola makes them. A lot of companies make little transmitters that you can attach to your computer via USB to give it that capability. I haven't tried any in particular, so I'm not sure. Maybe the chat room could help. Which ones? Tell us which ones they like the best. I've seen quite a few out there.
Yeah, because I mean I've looked around, and the reviews that I've gotten have always been kind of mixed, and
yeah. Let me see if Plantronics has. Plantronics makes some good stuff. They make for instance, headphone or phone receiver that works with both your landline and your cell phone. I wonder if they make a Bluetooth transmitter. No, it doesn't look like they do. USB Bluetooth dongle, I guess, is what we'd want, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't see one. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe this is it. Plantronics Bluetooth USB adapter. Yeah, this looks like this would do it. It's a little pricey, but it's on Amazon for $67. It's just a little USB key that you plug into your computer, and it becomes a USB adapter. The truth is, I have to say, I generally, when I'm using Skype, like to use a USB headset. The quality is much better than Bluetooth. Bluetooth, designed for phone, is a lower bandwidth. And does not sound. It sounds like a phone, which is fine. But I just think you can have so much better sound if you use a USB headset plugged right into the computer. However, I understand you can't walk around, stuff like that. So I'm looking at this is the Bluetooth Plantronics Bluetooth USB adapter, the BUA100. I certainly, this is a great company. It would be good. I do see reviews that say, hey, it's great, but, cheaper options are just as good. So you might start there with the reviews on the Amazon site, see what other products they recommend. But I can't go wrong with Plantronics. All right. Let's see. Somebody in the chat room says they're having good luck with the $13 ASIO BTD211. Wow. The BTD211 from AZIO, $13 on Newegg. That's not bad. So maybe you shouldn't spend $60 on the Plantronics. There's a lot of other choices. MediaLink makes a good one. Monoprice sells one for $10. So, Justin, we love Monoprice. They're really the low-cost solution. I'd say try that. Try that. Good idea. You don't need to pay for a landline service with one exception, 911. But I use as I mentioned before. In fact, I got the idea from somebody who called the radio show. I use Google Voice for my home phone, using an adapter that plugs it into the internet and a regular phone line. It's called the Obi-Hi. Cost me about $30, and now I have free phone service. But again, not so great for 911. Not recommended. Here's another one. Dem90 says Targus has a USB Bluetooth adapter, the ACB10US. Quite a few choices. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. George on the line from Houston, our next caller. Hi, George.
Actually, Houston, Texas. I just said Houston to the call screener. Maybe she assumed it was California.
Did I say Houston, California? I don't even know if there is a Houston. I apologize. Houston, Texas, on the Gulf. Hi, George.
Well, hi, the amazing stuff. Speaking of the Roku box, I'm sitting here watching you on it right now live as I speak to you. The 20-second delay, and I think it's really interesting.
I love Roku. I am a huge fan. For those who don't know, it's just a inexpensive device, under $100 device you plug into your internet, and it gives you television internet access. So you plug the HDMI cable in to your TV, and you can watch all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, the reason I got it was because of Netflix is on there.
That's why most people get it.
And then, but Blockbuster still is not on the Roku box. Is there some reason why after all these many years?
That's a great question. I have no idea. Blockbuster has a streaming service. I guess they didn't want to make a deal with Roku. It's interesting. Amazon is now on Roku, Amazon streaming. If you're an Amazon Prime member, you're going to find a lot of stuff. But let me point you to a very useful site, George. This is called Roku Channel Database. It's done by a third party. It's not by Roku. But it shows all 1,215 channels you can get on a Roku box. 1,200 of them, many of them no one knows about. Some of them are private, but there's things like Australian rules football, things that you wouldn't necessarily know about, even in the channel store. So you need to find, you have to use special tricks to get them, but there's a lot of stuff on there. Now, and I said I would tell you about something new from Roku. Roku has just announced, and it should be available, probably by the time you hear this, it should be available, the Roku Stick. This is really interesting. Roku normally is about a hockey puck-sized box that you connect up, but they're making a new device that's a USB stick. It'll require a special HDMI connector, an MHL HDMI connector, but many TVs have them. My home theater receiver has them, and it adds Roku capability to a TV in just a little USB stick, which is what a great idea that is. I am really. I expect it'll be around $99. The least expensive Roku product right now is $50. So they've got the prices down. They've got the capabilities up. Why isn't Blockbuster on there? I don't know. I think only Blockbuster and Roku know. But I would expect it's because they haven't been able to make a deal, right? And that's the way it is often in this realm. Hey, thanks for the call, George. Thanks for listening. I think we're out of time. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Have a great Geek Week. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. I'm Leo Laporte. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, the Tech Guy is just the tip of the iceberg. We do nearly 30 shows now on the TWiT Netcast Network, and you'll find them all at twit.tv. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPad on iPad Today. You get your daily dose of tech news from Tech News Today, and our weekly roundtable show, This Week in Tech. It's all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next time with another great Tech Guy podcast. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.